Having never seen wolves live up close and personal, kind of weird to do a little sportscast with wolves right behind you. Holly Jaycox joins me again now from Wolf Park. We're going to be talking about the pack, and the pack is right behind us here.
Yeah, we've got all 4 of them lured over here. They're usually sleeping about this time of day, kind of like the rest of us.
Yeah, a lot of us are. But who we got? We got Wolfgang.
Wolfgang is our alpha male in the pack right now. His brother Wotan is close behind and kind of keeping an eye on him and wondering if he might be alpha soon. Rudy is a little lower ranking, kind of is careful how he acts around the other 2, and Kaylani is the sole female in the pack, and so she's alpha and gets to do whatever she wants.
It's so unique to see the hierarchy of a pack, even if it's as small as 4.
You know, a pack is basically a family, a wolf family. So typically the hierarchy is mom and dad are in charge, and the kids are not so much. With our pack, we kind of mix it up a little bit, so it gets a little more complicated.
And the Twilight movies were extremely popular, both in the theater and also libraries and bookstores, things like that.
Absolutely.
What did you guys see here? Because you guys kind of wrapped that in with some things that you were doing here at Wolf Park.
Yeah, absolutely. We had some special events to kind of talk about the mythology of wolves. One of the things that a place like Wolf Park wants to do is help people understand what is a wolf really like. There are so many stories about wolves, from Little Red Riding Hood to whatnot, that perpetuate myths about wolves being really big and bad and mean. And all of our language, the big bad wolf, all of our language, the wolf in sheep's clothing, continue that kind of belief system. And so we're here saying, look at these guys. Do they look so big and bad? They're actually kind of cute. They're a lot like our dogs at home.
And if you look over here, a couple of Wolf Park fellow employees that you have giving them snacks inside the enclosure as well.
Absolutely, and that's one of the ways we dispel these myths. Is we say, look, we can walk up to these guys. Now, wild wolves are afraid of humans, so you can't walk right up to a wild wolf, but our wolves, we raise them around people so they're not afraid of us, and so they're actually quite calm and relaxed around our staff members. That's Monty Sloan and Dana Drunzik there. So
that's amazing. Much more coming up from Casual Friday. We're going to actually feed these guys at 6 o'clock in the morning. Also, maybe see some puppies as well. Get ready to join the pack. That's coming up on Casual Friday.
Well, it really does help break down some of those misperceptions when you can see them in a park like that in a safe environment, and maybe, you know, some of the false perceptions that we have because of movies and TV and whatnot.
Absolutely.
That's exactly it. They're so friendly. They're walking up to the employees and getting the snacks, of course.
Of course.
They know where the food is.
All right. We'll see much more coming up in the 6 o'clock hour. Thanks, Joe.
Exactly. We're going to howl at the wolves, too.
Yes.
We're hearing howls in the distance.
That's awesome.
Oh, okay, actually.
You got to hear them.
There it is.
You guys hear?
Oh, are you sure
cool?
that isn't
Isn't
Phil?
that cool? I think it was Holly. No, just kidding. Look at these guys. Isn't that great?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow, very active.
Look at them all playing there. Very cute.
I think that was our videographer.
I'm sure. He'll love hearing that later on.
Well, very warm day for us today, much like... Well, it is Friday, and it is Casual Friday, and Joe LePage is coming to us live from Wolf Park, and he was howling at the moon with the wolves, a pretty cool sound to be hearing this morning. Good morning, Joe.
It was pretty cool, wasn't it, Laura? You had the wolves here close by, and then you had coyotes, and what else was in the
other
distance?
wolves, some of the wolves live on the other side of the lake, so they were howling.
Holly Jaycox joins me again from Wolf Park, and it's amazing to hear them all kind of talk to each other, check in with each other.
It really is quite amazing, and it's interesting because when you hear stories of people, they say, oh, you know, the hair stood up on the back of my neck when I heard the wolves howl or whatever. And for those of us who come here, we're like, wow, we just think it's beautiful. Like, it's not scary to us. So it's all about context, I suppose. If I was out in the middle of the woods, had never met a wolf in my entire life and heard that noise, maybe I'd think it sounded scary. But
and one of the myths and misconceptions that we have is that it sounds like the coyote, the high-pitched,
right.
It's more the lower, as you heard. But as far as the interaction go, you see Dana and Monty back here. Monty was snapping some pictures earlier. What process you guys work with to get these pups up to where we are now?
To get wolves that can be so relaxed here. We've got the lights, the camera, all this kind of crazy stuff going on.
For sure, they're curious.
But it means we have to really intensively socialize them from a very young age. So from the time the puppies are about 10 days old, we have them around people all the time, and it's a very long process to get to a wolf that can be handled this way. And that way we can give them veterinary care without having to tranquilize them, and they can live with very little stress for their whole lives here. You know, wild wolves, very afraid of people. If you go to a zoo oftentimes and try and look for a wolf, they're hiding in their enclosure. Here we're able to present wolves where you can really see them just being themselves, just being relaxed, open, happy to be here. So
And to that point, our camera guy Phil is up on the bleachers where you guys have it set up for Howl Night every weekend, and the wolves will actually come up and just kind of check in.
They'll come just hang out and say, hey, look, the people are showing up. I wonder what's going on. And they kind of know, oh, look, when the people come here, a lot of times the staff comes in like these guys are with treats in their pockets.
Yep.
And so it's kind of fun
pictures.
for them. It's actually entertaining for them as well as for us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you may be wondering what a wolf eats or how they might get fed here in the enclosure. We'll tell you a little bit more about that coming up on Casual Friday. Now, we're not going to go try to howl because they just howled, right?
Yeah,
but
we'll do that
if there's
later.
a spontaneous howl again and we're on the air, we're just going to kind of break into song here.
Absolutely.
Live on the old airwaves. I'm game. Are you game for that?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, just checking. So we could be howling in the broadcast depending on what these guys are feeling. I'll be kind of tired after a photo shoot and the fact that it's maybe a little bit after 6. Still their bedtime.
Yeah, they're usually sleeping about now.
Holly.
I bet they
Send it
are.
back to you, ladies. Find out what they eat though, because we'll actually have it on the air what they eat on their regular diet.
Well, Joe, we were just saying it's pretty fascinating to see them up close and personal because they're a lot larger than I thought.
I mean, look at the wolf there with Monty Sloan, just kind of chilling.
Yeah, it's
Wild animal, just kind of. He's got
Oh
hand,
my gosh!
hand signals for
Look at
him.
his face.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
How about that?
That
And
takes guts too. I know.
Yeah.
I'm
It
a little
certainly
nervous,
does take guts.
but they know how to handle the wolves.
Yeah. And he's got little hand commands that tells him to kind of sit still, chill out,
Very cool.
type thing, so you can take pictures of him. It's great.
That's pretty fascinating. Well, thanks, Joe. We'll check in with you a little bit later in the hour.
Away from people, you don't. I didn't realize they were that big, but then when
No.
you saw the people right there next to him, I kept comparing. Like, look at her head compared to the
Yeah,
wolf's head.
especially when you have a domesticated dog. You
Yeah.
compare it to that. So
Yeah.
very different animals, but
Much larger than my dogs, I can say.
yeah. Well, a hot day in store.
All right, it's dinner time at 6:20 something here at Wolf Park. Holly Jaycox joins me again. A little disclaimer before we wheel in the blue tub over there. It is a deer carcass. It has been dressed up a little bit. We're not even sure if they'll eat it since it is kind of not on their schedule,
Not
but here it is
normal, right.
nonetheless. Monty's going to bring it into the pen back there. They look pretty hungry.
Yeah, they're always excited to see what's in there, something new happening, something they're gonna check it out. We get roadkill deer
Okay.
for our food. Pick it up off the side of the road, do
Some
a little
people
recycling.
might not know that because, I mean, sadly, so many deer are hit on our roadways.
Absolutely.
And you hear the howling in the background.
And so you can see they're like, this looks kind of tasty.
And also, you guys partner with area farmers as well.
Yeah,
Some livestock.
farmers sometimes donate stillborn calves and things to us, and also other local residents when they say have an aging meat in their freezers and things like that.
Now, you can tell how really not into this deer they are at this point. What is it usually like, though?
Well,
Food
you know,
then?
it just varies. Unlike wild wolves that are constantly working hard to find food, these guys get fed regularly. So,
Yeah.
especially in the heat of summer, they're not always starving when that food goes in there.
And it's so funny to talk during the break. As the wolves get older, their diet changes. The different things that they do eat, and
they'll continue to eat deer throughout their lives, but when they get really old, they're starting to kind of not feel so good. Sometimes they don't get excited about this kind of food, so we start bringing them different things to see what'll get them turned on to eating, and we'll try anything. We had wolves that were getting White Castle for a while. We've had wolves that
You
like
mentioned pancakes. Pancakes.
Yep.
Should we try the howl now that they're doing it?
Sure, we can
Okay,
howl
quick
along.
howling advice again.
Okay,
Long
just a
tone.
long tone that maybe tapers off at the end.
Top 10 coolest things I've ever seen in my life. That's unbelievable.
So they're greeting. There's
Yeah.
a greeting that they do.
And you were talking, it's just kind of just a reaction they have. They could be sleeping and we could be howling, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden you snap to it.
they respond to howling. They can say hi. It can be a rallying thing for a pack to come together. It can be, oh, we're letting other wolves know this is our territory. Don't come too close. If they get separated, they can find each other.
That's so cool. Gonna try it one more time. We gotta send it to break here in a minute.
Sure. Okay.
It's coming right to us as we're doing it too.
That's right. She's rallying over to us.
It's like a wolf high five type thing, a
yeah,
handshake type
kind
thing.
of.
I
It is.
see how
Yeah,
it is.
absolutely.
We're going to send it to break before we do ticket trivia. You heard us howling at the wolves. You heard the wolves howling back. kind of dealing with that ticket trivia. Still some time to answer that question. The answer and winner coming up later on in the broadcast.
For today, up to approximately how many miles away from the Wolf's howl will be heard? The correct answer is C, 10 miles. So a wolf's howl can range from half a second in duration to about 11 seconds, depending on the weather. 10 miles.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. Well, coming up, we'll take a look at today's Bloomberg Business Report.
All right, you met the adults. Now it's time to meet one of the kids anyway. 3 pups total.
Yep, we've got 3 pups here. Actually, 2 of them are moving on later this fall.
Okay.
Only one will be here permanently.
And that one is Tilly, and she's over here. We've been playing with her for, the past 10 minutes or so. Getting a little restless. She sees the adults. Now, there's a reason why she hasn't been added to the rest of the pack.
Yeah, the puppies have a little bit of intestinal issues and some diarrhea, and so while we figured out exactly what was going on with them, we felt like it was best not to put them in with the adults yet. So they'll be going in soon, though, in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure.
But you can see the interaction when they started walking over with Tilly. All the adults just kind of...
Absolutely. The adults are excited to have those puppies in there. They've met Tilly and the other puppies a couple of times, and they're looking forward to having her in there. And they also love Monty, so Monty's a good distraction for them. Yeah.
Monty, you all right in there, buddy? Okay. He's been snapping pictures of the wolves since we've been here for Casual Friday. It's amazing how dog-like the wolves are, because Tilly came over and came right up to us and laid down.
Absolutely. It just shows you how closely related dogs and wolves are to each other. So the dog behaviors look very similar, especially to puppy behavior. Dogs are a lot more like puppies than they are like the adult wolves, really, in their behavior and the intensity of behaviors and whatnot.
And one thing that struck me is, as Tilly came over, 4 months old, the size, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, pups are born in April, but by about October, November, they're running with the pack, and they need to be big enough to handle going on travels with the pack through the winter. They won't survive, and so they need to grow very quickly.
And she has white fur, different from the other ones as well as the mom, right?
Her mom is an Arctic wolf, and her dad is a black-colored wolf, and so she got more of those Arctic genes, so she's very light-colored.
Go say hi to the cameraman.
As Tilly eats the camera, we'll send it back to you, ladies.
Oh, Tilly is
Time
beautiful.
for her close-up, Tilly is.
Oh, thank
yes,
you,
absolutely.
Joe.
So fluffy, too. It's friendly.
Well, this has been a really fun day. Thanks so much, Joe. And a warm day in store for us today.
Very warm. High warming up today to 91 degrees. It's going to feel more like it's in the triple digits.
Humid.
Yeah.